Hello and welcome back to Russ's Movie Corner. My name is Russ, and as you can see, I am sitting in front of my movie corner. I have my Jesus King of Kings shirt on, my King of Kings movie right next to me, and judging by the frame around me, we are back doing the Bible verses for Flat Earth Debunk. Last time we talked a little bit about Revelation, we talked about the edge of the sea, all that kind of stuff. So basically we ended up kind of finding out that the guy in question, Brant Wessels, is actually not who he claims to be. Because what he is doing is he is essentially just kind of like taking keywords and he is kind of, pulling Bible verses and then throwing them into, different parts of things. So he's not actually doing eisegesis. He's not doing exegesis. He's doing more eisegesis, where he's kind of reading into the text instead of allowing the text to speak for itself. And as we'll find out as we continue forward here, we're probably going to find more of the same thing. So let's jump back in with Daniel, chapter 4 and verse 11. Let's see here. Alright. Oh god, not again. Ugh, jeez. Okay. So, again, has this guy ever read the Bible? I don't think he has, because honestly, if he had, he probably realized this, but Nebuchadnezzar's having a dream here, okay? So, Nebi here is the guy who, does things in Babylon, okay? He's the king. He's the man, he knows all, he does all, but here's the difference, okay? He has these dreams that no one can interpret. And I mean no one, okay? All except Daniel, right? Daniel's the one that can interpret these dreams. So basically, in chapter 4 of Daniel here, Nebuchadnezzar has his second dream. Now, I believe the first dream was, the first dream was, he had a dream, his spirit was troubled, should know the dream. O king, live forever, tell your servants in the dream. We will show interpretation. I said to the Chaldeans, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So I believe it was, let me see here. Yeah. So, what it was is that the first dream is he beheld a great image, right? It's a kingly image. And the top of its head was fine gold, its chest and arms were silver, its middle and thighs were bronze, and its legs of iron, and its feet partly of iron, partly of clay. And as you look, the stone was cut out by no human hand. It struck the image on its feet of iron and clay and broke them into pieces. Okay? And basically what it's saying is that, that's basically God saying, you're gold, and then what comes after you is the silver, what comes after you is the bronze, what comes after that is the iron, and then what comes after that is the iron and clay. And I, as God, am going to come down and strike at the feet, and I'm going to topple all of these kingdoms. So all of these kingdoms will serve their time and then leave. So this is Nebuchadnezzar's second dream that he has that gets interpreted by Daniel. Okay? It says, I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at ease. This is 4, verse 4. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at ease in my house and prospering in my palace. I saw a dream that made me afraid. As I lay in bed, the fancies and the visions of my head alarmed me. So I made a decree that all the wise men of Babylon should be brought before me, that they might make known to me the interpretation of the dream. And the magicians, the enchanters, the Chaldeans, and the astrologers came in, and I told them the dream, but they could not make known to me the interpretation. Last Daniel came in before me, he who was named Belshazzar, after the name of my God, and in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. I told him the dream, saying, O Belshazzar, chief of the magicians, because I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you, and that no mystery is too difficult for you, tell me the visions of my dream that I saw in their interpretation. Starting in verse 10, the visions of my head as I lay in bed were these. I saw, and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and its height was great. The tree grew and became strong. Its top reached into heaven, and it was visible to the end of the whole earth. Its leaves were beautiful, and its fruit abundant, and in it was food for all. The beasts of the field found shade under it, and the birds of the heavens lived in its branches, and all flesh was fed from it. I saw in the vision in my head as I lay in bed, and behold, a watcher, a holy one, came down from heaven. He proclaimed aloud and said thus, chop down the tree and lop off its branches, strip off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the beasts flee from under it and the birds from its branches. But leave the stump of its roots in the earth, bound with a band of iron and bronze, amid the tender grass of the field. Let him be wet with the dew of heaven. Let his portion be with the beasts in the grass of the earth. Let his mind be changed from man's. Let a beast's mind be given to him, and let 7 periods of time pass over him. The sentence is by degree of the watchers, the decision by the word of the holy ones is to end, to the end that the living may know that the Most High rules the kingdom of men, and gives it to whom he will, and sets over it the lowliest of men. This dream I, King Nebuchadnezzar, saw. And you, O Belshazzar, tell me the interpretation, because all the wise men of my kingdom are not able to make known to me the interpretation, but you are able, because the spirit of the holy gods is in you. Then Daniel, this is in verse 19, then Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, was dismayed for a while, and his thoughts alarmed him. And the king answered and said, Belshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation alarm you. Belteshazzar answered and said, My lord, may the dream be for those who hate you, and its interpretation for your enemies. The tree you saw, which grew strong and became strong, so that its top reached to heaven and was visible to the whole ends of the earth, whose leaves were beautiful and its fruit abundant, for which was food for all, under which the beasts of the field found shade, and in whose branches the birds of heaven lived, it is you, O king, who have grown and become strong. Your greatness has grown and reached to heaven, and your dominance to the ends of and your dominion to the ends of the earth. And because the king saw a watcher, a holy one, coming down from heaven and saying, chop down the tree and destroy it, leave the stump of its roots, blah, blah, blah. Basically what's happening is that King Nebuchadnezzar basically, like, he was great in power, but it was at the will of God. And he took it upon himself to kind of become like the Most High. He basically was like, aha, see, I am like the Most High, I am like the gods, I am powerful, I am this, and God brought him low. Right? That's what the dream was. Okay? He saw this tree and they said, cut it down, put bands over it, let him be fed by the dew of heaven, let him eat like grass, let his mind be like that of a beast. Okay? That was basically God going to humiliate and humble King Nebuchadnezzar. And that's basically what Daniel says. He's like, my king, I love you, but this is what's going to happen. Okay? This tree, it's you, and when it gets cut off, okay, it says, chop down the tree and destroy it, but leave the stump and its roots in the earth, bound with a band of iron and bronze. It is the tender grass of the field. Let him be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beasts of the field, till 7 periods of time pass over him. This is the interpretation, O king. It is a decree of the Most High, which has come upon the Lord my king, that you shall be driven from among men. You will be dwelling with the beasts of the field. You shall be made to eat grass like an ox. You will be wet with dew of heaven, and 7 periods of time shall pass over you until you know the Most High rules the kingdom of men and gives to whom he will. And then that happens in verses 28 through basically 33. Okay? He was driven from men. In verse 33, it says, immediately the word was fulfilled against Nebuchadnezzar. He was driven from men, and he ate grass like an ox. His body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hair grew as long as eagle feathers, and his nails were like birds' claws. And then basically Nebuchadnezzar is restored because he finally says, I'm sorry, King of Heaven, because I did that. Okay? And then basically, yeah. And while King Nebuchadnezzar was out doing that, basically, like, this other king named Belshazzar comes in, and, like, he sees writing on the wall, and nobody can interpret what the writing on the wall says. So he calls all these people, and they said, okay, well, this guy Daniel knows. So Daniel comes in, he interprets it, and he goes, that's it, send him to the lion's den. So, yeah, I mean, gosh, again, dude, it's a dream. Again, spiritual. It's a metaphor. It has nothing to do with the shape of the earth. Because it's a dream that he's having to where this tree is so big that everyone could see it. No matter where they were. Okay? But that's just in his dream. That doesn't mean that it was real. I mean, you'd have to be an idiot to not know that. Okay. This one I pretty much know by heart. But basically, again, we're dealing with principalities. Okay? So, basically, John the Baptist comes, okay, after Jesus is born. He's lived for a long time. Herod the Great dies. Herod Antipas, his son, takes over. Jesus comes back, and then he starts his ministry. John the Baptist is out. He's, speaking. The voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord, make paths straight. And then he baptizes Jesus because Jesus comes to him and says, I want you to baptize me. He says, great. And then it says, behold, a voice came from heaven. This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased. Then Jesus, this is 4 verse 1. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And after fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. And the tempter came and said to him, if you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread. And he answered, Jesus, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. Then the devil took him to the holy city, placed him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone. Jesus said to him, again it is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test. Again, the devil took him up to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, all of these I give to you, if you will but fall down and worship me. And then Jesus said to him, begone, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God and serve him alone. Then the devil left him, and beheld, angels came and were ministering to him. Again, this is a spiritual matter, okay? This has nothing to do with Jesus actually seeing every single king of the thing. Now, it's interesting because in the Jeremy Sisto Jesus miniseries that was made back in the late 90s to early 2000s, they had Jerwin Krabbe, who was a prolific villainous actor back in those days, play Satan in that miniseries. Wonderfully so, I might add. He really played a good Satan. Kind of like Peter Stormare in Constantine. Very, very fit for the role. He was also in The Living Daylights, if you know that movie. He was also, there was a couple of other movies that he's in. I just can't think of them right off the top of my head. But anyway, So he comes to Jesus during the temptation of Jesus, and he basically says, like, when he goes up to the top of the temple, he's like, hey, you're the Son of God, right? Cast yourself down. For it is written, he will command his angels concerning you. And then they go through that. And then when he goes, when he says he takes him up to a high mountain, he actually takes him up into space, overlooking the globe of the earth. And he goes, look, behold, all these kingdoms I will give to you if you but bow down and worship me. And then he goes, away from me, Satan, for it is written, you will worship the Lord your God only. And then he goes, well, if that's your answer, Jesus, I'll see you again, for this is not over. And then he turns and walks away. And then Jesus comes back to his mother's house, and they did the baptism, because they kind of did like Matthew, kind of an amalgamation of Matthew, Luke, and John is kind of what they did. And they have him, they have a couple of his disciples who were there at the baptism, kind of standing there. And they're like, hey, let's go. And we're going to a wedding, because they hear about the wedding in Cana, right? Because they're like, hey, so-and-so is getting married. He's like, yes, let's go to a wedding, folks. And he's all dancing around, having fun at the wedding. And then, like, the guy playing the disciple, the guy playing the disciple Peter is like, this is the Messiah? This guy who's dancing around, having fun at this party? What the hell, man? What are we even doing here? And then this one person comes up and goes, sir, we're out of wine. And so, like, Jesus' mother hears that, so she runs over, she grabs Jesus, she pulls him off the dance floor, and she's like, Jesus, they're out of wine. And he's like, why do you concern me with this, woman? Like, it's not my time yet. And then he starts to go back out, and she goes, no, didn't you hear me? They're almost out of wine. And then she grabs a passing servant and goes, do whatever this man says. And so he goes, all right, go get the jars, fill them with water. And so they start filling them with water. And then he goes, now draw some, take it to your master. And then he reaches down inside and he picks up a ladle and he pours some in a cup. And as he's pouring it out, it's turning into wine. And then he sets it back in and he goes over to Peter and he goes, here, Peter, for the living water has come. And then it's like he starts drinking it and he's like, that's not water. Like, you see it's like his face. He's like, wait a minute, that's not water. Like, holy crap, what the hell? That's the point. Again, this is not saying what the shape of the earth is. This is the devil, okay? I mean, this is Satan we're talking about here, okay? And again, in Luke, it's the same thing, okay? The temptation is a little bit different because it actually has command these stones to become bread first. Then it took him up and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time, and said to him, today I will give you all of this, for it has been delivered unto me, and I will give it to whom I will. If you then will worship me, it will all be yours. And Jesus answered to him, it is written, for you shall worship the Lord your God, and only him you shall serve. Then he took him to Jerusalem, set him upon the pinnacle of the temple, and said, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down from here, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you to guard you, and on their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone. Then Jesus answered him, it is said, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test. And when the devil had ended every temptation, he departed from him until an opportune time. In the Jesus miniseries, in that one with Jeremy Sisto, when Jesus goes to pray in the Garden of Gethsemane, Satan, played by Jeroen Krabbe, comes back to him and is like, are you sure of what you're asking from your father? You know, kind of goading him. And he's like, shall I show you what happens when you go to that cross? And so he takes him to like different time periods and shows the bloodshed that will be done in his name. Shows him like World War I, shows him like the Crusades, shows him all these different things that are happening in his, that will happen in Jesus' name. And Jesus is like, yeah, but that's not it. Okay, I'm not saying, like how that's going to work. All that kind of stuff. So, again, this is Satan we're talking about here. This is principalities outside of our time-space reality. Okay? Who knows what they can see in the spiritual realm? Just like Daniel wrote down about the dream of Nebuchadnezzar, okay? This is something that is outside of our concept of what they can see, because God is not just floating above the earth on a cloud. Where is he? He's outside of this universe. He's outside of our reality. He can see everything. Okay? And same thing with Revelation 1. Okay? Where it says every man will see him. Yeah. When he chooses to come. But again, isn't that the point? I mean, it says, to him who loved us and has freed us from our sins by his blood and made us a kingdom of priests to his God and Father, to him be the glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Behold, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, and even those who pierced him, and all tribes of the earth will wail on account of him. Even so, amen. I am the Alpha and the Omega, says the Lord God, who is, who was, and who is to come, the Almighty. Again, we're talking about spiritual matters here. This isn't talking about, Jesus is going to come. No! This is talking about spiritual realities. When Jesus comes, can he be everywhere at once? Yes, because he's God, isn't he? Isn't that what we believe as Christians? If we don't, then that's... Yeah. And are you stupid? Seriously? You're going to use the book of Acts. You're going to use the book of Acts. Are you flippin' serious right now? Did you even read the book of Acts? At all, ever? I don't think you did. Okay? Because here's the point. This is the ascension! Are you that dumb? I mean, seriously, dude, this is the ascension. Okay? The ascension! So when they had come together and asked him, Lord, will you at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? He said to them, it is not for you to know the times or seasons that the Father has fixed by his own authority. But you will receive the power of the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth. And when he had said these things, as they were looking on, he was lifted up, and a cloud took him out of their sight. And while they were gazing into heaven as he went, behold, 2 men stood by them in white robed, and said, Men of Galilee, why do you stand here looking into heaven? This is Jesus, who was taken up from you into heaven, and will come the same way as you saw him go into heaven. Does that say the earth is fucking flat? No! It doesn't. It just says how he went is how he's going to return. Does it say every single person is going to see him? No. It doesn't. It just says he's going to return the same way he came. on the clouds. Because a cloud obscured him from them seeing into heaven. Okay? And so they were all standing there looking up, and the angels were coming by and going, guys, you're standing here looking in the wrong spot. You need to go. Because, I mean, yeah, this is Jesus we're talking about. He's gone. Okay, went up into heaven. He's going to come back someday. And the manner of his coming back is going to be the same way that he left. So just be looking for it. Go. That's basically what they were saying. What the hell are you talking about, man? Oh my God, are you flipping stupid, dude? Anybody who wants to believe the earth is flat is an absolute idiot, especially if they're going to try to use the Bible to justify it. Back to the damn book of Job, because why not? Let's get our theology from a book that is 90% not theological. Fucking idiot. Okay. Starting in verse 12. Because why not? This guy's an idiot. We need to get context here. But where shall wisdom be found, and where is the place of understanding? Man does not know its worth, and is not found in the land of the living. The deep says, it is not in me, and the sea says, it is not with me. It cannot be bought for gold, its silver cannot be weighed as its price. It cannot be valued in the gold of Ophir, in precious onyx or sapphire. Gold and glass cannot equal it, nor can it be exchanged for jewels of fine gold. This is Job, by the way. Okay? So, Job is answering Bildad, the Shuhite, who is talking about man cannot be righteous. He's basically like, he's answering a discourse by Job after Eliphaz speaks in chapter 22. Then Job replies in 23 and 24. Then Bildad comes and says, dominion and fear are with God. He makes peace in his high heaven. Is there any number to his armies? Upon whom does his light not arise? How then can man be in the right before God? How can he who is born of woman be pure? Behold, even the moon is not bright, and the stars are not pure in his eyes. How much less is man who is a maggot, and the son of man who is a worm? And then basically, Job answers him, okay, talking about God's majesty is unsearchable. Then he says, I will maintain my integrity. Then he's asking this question, where is wisdom? Okay, and this is where we're at now. Okay. No mention shall be made of coral or crystal. I'm now in verse 18. The price of wisdom is above pearls. The topaz of Ethiopia cannot equal it, nor can it be valued in pure gold. From where, then, does wisdom come, and where is the place of understanding? It is hidden from the eyes of all living and concealed from the birds of the air. Abaddon and Death say, we have heard a rumor of it with our ears. God understands the way to it, and he knows its place. For he looks to the ends of the earth, and sees everything under the heavens. When he gave to the wind its weight, and apportioned the waters by measure, when he made a decree for the rain and a way for the lightning of the thunder, then he saw it and declared it, he established it and searched it out. And he said to man, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to turn away from its evil is understanding. So again, he's talking about God here, and is God inside of our universe? Again, is he? Truly? No! So can God look from one end of the earth to the other? Yes! Because he is outside of our universe. He can see everything at once. He's omnipresent, isn't he? Isn't that one of his attributes? If you actually believe in God, which I don't think this guy does. Because if you believed in the God of the Bible, then guess what? You'd know that. Okay. So again, we're back in Isaiah 40:22, because why the fuck not? Do you not know? Do you not hear? This is starting in verse 21. Has it not been told you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain, and spreads them like a tent to dwell in, who brings princes to nothing, and makes the rulers of the earth as emptiness. Scarcely are they planted, scarcely sown, scarcely has their stem taken root in the earth. When he blows on them, they wither, and the tempest carries them off like stubble. He's basically, this is the Lord talking through Isaiah, okay? What 2D shape is this? Would that be a circle? Am I sitting below it? Am I now sitting above it? Because it's between my legs? Yes. Can God sit above the circle of the earth? Yes. Because look, it's still a circle. No matter which way I look at it, it's still a circle. Because it's a circle in 3 dimensions. We live in a 3-dimensional universe. If we didn't, this wouldn't be a sphere. It would be a flat disk. What I don't get is, it says the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers. What does that have to do with anything? Have you ever been in an airplane before, son? Or stood at the top of a high building? Or at the top of a mountain and looked out? Yep, people way down there look like little tiny grasshoppers or ants. That's what he's talking about here. He's saying from where God sits, we all look are as grasshoppers, or like grasshoppers. That's it. It has nothing to do with the shape of the earth again, dude. Absolute moron. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this guy's never read the Bible at all. Ever. What the hell? Son, did you read that passage? Do you know what that passage is? Well, I'm going to tell you. And when he opened the 6th seal, this is 6:12, when he opened the 6th seal, I looked, and beheld, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became as black as sackcloth, and the moon became like blood, and the stars of the sky fell to the earth, as the fig tree shed its winter fruit when shaken by the gale. The sky vanished like a scroll that is being rolled up, and every mountain and island was removed from its place. Then the kings of the earth, and the great ones, and the generals, and the rich and powerful, and every one, slave and free, hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains, calling to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him who is seated on the throne, from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of their wrath has come, and who can stand? Son, this is an earthquake. It has nothing to do with the shape of the earth. Again, nothing to do with the shape of the earth. How does this back up your high altitude perspective? This is people hiding during an earthquake, you moron. Do you not understand that? Did you not read before you ever put a single one of these words down? I mean, for fuck's sake. This is so fucking stupid. I shouldn't have to do this. He should have done this himself. He should have been, that sounds a little familiar. Maybe I should read that passage. Oh, this is about the wrath of the Lamb. How does that back up my high altitude perspective? Oh, it really doesn't back up my high altitude perspective. Maybe I shouldn't put this in there, because if it doesn't back up my high altitude perspective, I'm going to look like an absolute fucking moron. But instead, he just decided, nah, why don't I? Because, I'm just an idiot. Oh, look at me. I am just the biggest idiot on the face of the planet. Because, son, anyone with 2 brain cells to rub together knows that that passage has nothing to do with the shape of the fucking earth. Or that it's like from a high altitude perspective or anything like that. It is literally saying people are getting away. Hid themselves. You even bolded hid themselves. What? They're hiding from what? From the earthquake, the wrath of the Lamb, the one who sits on the throne. They're not looking at the throne. They're hiding from it. Did you not read that part? Or did you just think, oh my God, they're hiding themselves. There must be some great face in the sky. Are you fucking stupid? Doesn't even say that. It says the one who sits on the throne of heaven, the wrath of the Lamb, has come. And son, it's coming for you. Because you have no clue what the Lamb said. I mean, this is just the stupidest thing I have ever seen. Ay, ay, ay. Starting in 52, verse 6. Isaiah. Therefore my people shall know my name. Therefore in that day they shall know that it is I who speak. Here I am. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, who publishes peace, who brings good news of happiness, who publishes salvation, who says to Zion, your God reigns. The voice of your watchmen, they lift up their voice. Together they sing for joy. For eye to eye they see, and return to the Lord of Zion. Break forth together into singing, you waste places of Jerusalem. For the Lord has comforted his people, he has redeemed Jerusalem. The Lord has bared his holy arm before the eyes of all nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. Depart, depart, go out from there, touch no unclean thing, go out from the midst of her, purify yourselves, for you bear the vessels of the Lord. For you shall go out in haste, and you shall not go in flight, for the Lord will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your rear guard. So, if you understand anything about the Bible, which clearly Brant doesn't understand a damn thing, again, this is not saying that people are going to physically see the salvation. How are they going to see the salvation of our God? Does it say that in here? The voice of your watchmen, they will lift up their voice. Together they sing for joy, for eye to eye they see, and return to the Lord, the return of the Lord to Zion. Break forth together into singing, you waste places of Jerusalem, for the Lord has comforted his people, he has redeemed Jerusalem. The Lord has bared his holy arm before the eyes of all nations, and the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. Depart, depart, go out from there, do touch no unclean thing. Go out from the midst of her, purify yourselves, for you who bear the vessels of the Lord. For you shall not go out in haste, and you shall not go in flight, for the Lord will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your rear guard. What is that concerning? Did Jesus redeem Jerusalem in AD 33 when he entered the week before his death in Palm Sunday? Nope. This is a 1,000-year reign of Christ prophecy, son. This is the new heaven and the new earth when Jerusalem will be redeemed. Hasn't happened yet, son. And when it does, it's not going to matter where on earth you are. Because the earth isn't flat. But it won't matter because we will know when the Lord comes. Again, you would have to be an absolute idiot not to know that. That this is a prophecy concerning the millennial reign of Christ. Okay? When the new heaven and the new earth come, after the Battle of Armageddon, this has to deal with the second coming of God, not his first coming. Okay? Because if you read 52:13 through 53:12, then you understand that was about his first coming. He was pierced for our transgressions, trampled for our iniquities, all that good stuff. Okay? Because again, you'd have to be an absolute moron not to know that. Seriously? Again, you're going to use a prophetic passage about Jesus' second coming to justify a flat earth? Again, this has nothing to do with the shape of the earth. Starting in verse 29, because you're an idiot. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then will appear in the heaven the sign of the Son of Man, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Again, has nothing to do with the shape of the earth. It is just saying that everyone that believes in Jesus will go with him. And that's not going to include you, son. Because obviously you don't know who Jesus is. Because you're trying to justify something that isn't there. I mean, back to the book of Revelation, because why not? I mean, let's keep using these prophetic passages, because, oh yeah, those mean so much, don't they? I mean, this is, dude. Do you know how people are going to be able to see this? What am I using right now to record this? Oh, that's right, a camera. And you can see me no matter where you are on the earth. If I was live streaming this, you could watch me live. Right? Isn't that probably how people are going to be able to see some of this stuff happen? I mean, this is just science backing up the fact that we have the internet and that we can see things instantaneously on the other side of the planet, whether we want to or not. I mean, hence, like, we know about the conflict in Israel because we can see images happening live as they're happening in Israel. And we're on the other side of the earth from that. We can't see the physical rockets, but we can see the videos of that happening. Okay? So, yeah, this is literally the two witnesses, okay, after basically the Antichrist comes up, okay, and kills them. Because these two witnesses will prophesy for a certain amount of time at the Wailing Wall in Israel, and at the end of their time, they will be quiet, and the Antichrist will come up and kill them. People will desecrate their bodies and leave them to rot in the sun, and after 3.5 days, a breath of life from God entered them, and they stood up on their feet, and with great fear fell on all those who saw them. Then they heard a loud voice from heaven saying to them, "Come up here." And they went up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies watched them. Now, where are their enemies again? Oh, that's right, their enemies are already in Jerusalem. So wouldn't they be able to see them? Because again, that doesn't actually say that their enemies were watching them from the other side of the earth. It just says that their enemies watch as they ascended into heaven. Which means, again, this guy is an absolute idiot because he hasn't even read the passage to see if the passage actually backs up his inane, babbling, stupid narrative. Which it doesn't, son. You would have to be an absolute moron not to see that. Again. Okay? I get so frustrated with this because this guy doesn't understand that these passages do not say what he thinks they are. Now, just like the four corners of the earth, okay? How many directions do we have on a compass? I'm just talking about cardinal directions. How many directions do we have on a compass? 4, right? North, south, east, west. That's it. That's all that's saying. I'm not even going to touch these next few passages because that's all it's talking about when it says the four winds of heaven. Okay? Because, honestly, none of those passages, okay, have anything to do with the shape of the earth. Nothing to do with the shape of the earth. Because can the wind blow out of the north? Yes. Can the wind blow out of the south? Yes. Can the wind blow out of the east? Yes. Can the wind blow out of the west? Yes. It's rare, but it has happened. Depends on where you are on the earth. Okay? So honestly, son, if you didn't know that, you're an ignoramus. And this doesn't back up any single thing about you. Okay? Seriously? Seriously. Did you seriously just use Jesus's talking to the Pharisees? I mean, are you that stupid Okay. For those of you 5 people that probably don't know, including this guy, what did the Pharisees want? Most of the time, whenever they walked up to Jesus, what did they want? Yo, Jesus, give us a sign that you're the Messiah. Verse 8. I'm going to read through verse 12. This is of Luke. And I tell you, everyone who acknowledges me before men, the Son of Man will also acknowledge before the angels of God. But the one who denies me before men will be denied before the angels of God. And everyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but the one who blasphemes against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven. And when they bring you before the synagogues and the rulers and the authorities, do not be anxious about how you should defend yourself or what you should say, for the Holy Spirit will teach you in that very hour what you ought to say. Now this is 12:56. All right. Now, I'm saying that because this guy doesn't understand that. So, he also said to the crowds, when you see a cloud rising in the west, you say at once a shower is coming, and so it happens. And when you see the south wind blowing, you say, there will be scorching heat, and it happens. You hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and sky, but why do you not know how to interpret the present time? So what is he saying there? Is he saying that every single person can see the face of the whole earth? Is he saying, oh, see, God knows? No. What is he saying there? Again, this has nothing to do with the shape of the earth. He's literally just saying, yo, you can see a cloud and you know it's got rain coming. You can see like the trees blowing from the south and you say it's going to be a scorching heat and it happens. So how is it that you know how that works, but when I tell you what time it is, you don't even know? That's literally all he's saying. He's not, again, he is not saying, okay, that the face of the earth is known to God everywhere all at once, and God even knows that. Because he's omnipresent, right? That's not what he's saying here. I mean, are you that dumb? I mean, seriously, do I need to do this? I guess I do, because you're kind of an idiot this way. So I'm guessing you don't know how to use this, because I'm betting what you're trying to do is say that the earth in this passage is somehow something a little bit different that you don't understand. $78. Gay, earth, world, country, region, land, ground, soil. Oh, gee, it doesn't look like it says what the shape of the earth is, except it does say that it's the world. And what shape do we know the world is in? Yeah, it's a sphere. So, sorry, buddy boy. Considering you lost that one too. $40.41. Uranus, sky, air, firmament, any area above the earth. Heaven, the place of the sun, moon, and the stars. Heaven in which God dwells. The third heaven may be a Jewish technical term for God's dwelling place. Heaven in some contexts, a euphemism for God. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this one, it just means the sky. He's not talking about physical heaven. He's talking about just the sky. Just the firmament. Because he's talking about a cloud. He's not talking about seeing into heaven itself. He's talking about clouds. Where do clouds live? Yeah, that's right, the sky. Absolute moron. God. Swear. These people are effing stupid. Save me from the stupidity of men. Are you seriously doing this right now? Do I seriously need to do this? Do I seriously need to tell you that the face of the earth is not a flat surface? Because, I mean, you're acting like God is like one of us. You're acting like God is not omnipresent. Okay? Like, none of these... God said, "Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree which is the fruit of a tree-yielding seed. For you shall it be meat." Okay? That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a flat disc. Does this have a face? Does my face have a face? My head. Does it have a face? Yes. Is my head in 3 dimensions? Yes. Is this ball in 3 dimensions? Yes. Can it have a face? Because isn't this side the lighted face? Are you stupid? Yes. The answer is yes. Brent Wessels is probably the dumbest person on the face of the earth if he thinks that he doesn't have a face on his 3-dimensional head. What does he think? He's a piece of paper? Somebody email that guy and say, "Yo, dude, do you have a face? Is your face in 3 dimensions? You might want to go look in a mirror to make sure that you have a face. Because if you don't have a face, I'm pretty sure you're screwed, buddy." Are you in 3 dimensions? Yes. Is your head spherical in shape? Yes. Does it have a face? Yes. Where do you think we get the term from? Like, literally, Genesis 6:1. Did they multiply on the earth? Yes. Okay. I mean, like, literally, all of this stuff, it's all the same thing. It doesn't mean... Okay, let's look at Luke 21:35 then. Okay? Just for you. And there will be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and on the earth distress in nations in perplexity because of the roaring of the sea and the waves. People fainting with fear with the foreboding of what is coming on the world. For the powers of heaven will be shaken, and then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Now when these things begin to take place, straighten up and raise your heads, because your redemption is drawing near. And he told them a parable. Look at the fig tree and all the trees. As soon as they come out in leaf, you see for yourself and know that the summer is already near. So also when you see these things taking place, you know that the kingdom of God is truly near. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all has taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But watch yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down with dissipation and drunkenness and cares of this life, and that the day come upon you suddenly like a trap. For it will come upon all who dwell on the face of the whole earth. But stay awake at all times, praying that you may have the strength to escape all these things that are going to take place, and to stand before the Son of Man. Son, it doesn't say that the earth is flat. It just says that everyone's going to come to a saving knowledge of Him. Everybody on the whole, over the face of the whole earth. That's it. That's all it's saying. It's not for that. Okay? Well, 2 Peter 3:5. Considering this guy's super ignorant. Knowing this first of all, 2 Peter 3, starting in verse 3. Knowing this first of all, that scoffers will come in the last days, scoffing, following after their own sinful desires. Sound familiar? Then they will say, where is the promise of His coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things are continuing as they were from the beginning of creation. For they deliberately overlooked this fact, that the heavens existed long ago, and that the earth was formed out of water and through the water and by the word of God. And that by means of these the world that existed then was deluged with water and perished. But by the same word the heavens and the earth that now exist are stored up for fire, being kept until the day of judgment and destruction of the ungodly. Is that saying that the earth isn't moving? Is that saying that the earth isn't orbiting the sun? No. It just said that there was water under the earth and that it came out and flooded. Let's see here. What happened in Genesis chapter 6 again? I know I read this when I did my Truth Hurts video. Because I read the whole entire story. Okay. In the 600th year, this is 7:11 of Genesis, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day, all the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of heavens were opened, and the rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Oh, gee, look at that. There was water from under the earth. Where did that water come from if the earth is a flat fucking disc? Does that mean we're floating like an island? No, it doesn't. All right. You see, this is the problem that they have. Okay? Is that they can't keep their crap straight, because every time something like this comes along, it ends up just acting like they don't even know what the hell is going on. Let me see here. 1630. Oh my god. This is a... Dude, seriously. This is David singing a song of thanks when he brought the ark back to Jerusalem. Again, this has nothing to do with the shape of the earth or that it's not moving. When you were few in number, of little account, and sojourners in it, wandering from nation to nation, from one kingdom to another people, he allowed no one to oppress them. He rebuked kings on their account, saying, touch not my anointed ones, do my prophets no harm. Sing to the Lord, all the earth, tell of his salvation from day to day, declare his glory among the nations, his marvelous works among all of the peoples. For great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised, and he is to be feared above all gods. For all gods of the people are worthless idols, but the Lord has made the heavens. Splendor and majesty are before him, strength and joy are in his place. Ascribe to the Lord, O families of the people. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord the glory due to his name. Bring an offering and come before him. Worship the Lord in splendor of holiness. Tremble before him, all the earth. Yes, the world is established, it shall never be moved. He's basically saying that the Lord built the earth. Who among men are going to move it? Huh? Can you? I can't. It's where it is. We can't do anything to move it. I mean, that's basically what any of these passages are saying, is it's basically just them saying, you know what? Look, the earth is here, and we're not going to be able to move it. No one can move the earth, okay? That was something that these false gods and false people used to say, okay? Oh no, he's in 93. Okay. Let me know if this tells you what the shape of the earth is. The Lord reigns. He is robed in majesty. The Lord is robed. He has put on strength as his belt. Yes, the world is established. It shall never be moved. Your throne is established from old. You are from everlasting. The floods have lifted up, O Lord. The floods have lifted up their voice. The floods have lifted up their roaring. Mightier than the thunders of many waters. Mightier than the waves of the sea. The Lord on high is mighty. Your decrees are very trustworthy. Holiness befits your house, O Lord, forevermore. I mean, they're basically just kind of saying that we're not going to be the ones doing the moving. The Lord, the earth is here, okay? And that's it. That's all it's saying is the earth is here. That's what it says when it says it's established like that. Okay? This is basically the same thing that David just sang, you moron. I mean, literally, Psalm 96 is that passage that we just read in 1 Chronicles chapter 16. This is literally the same exact passage. Because that's what David did. When he sang a song, he wrote it down. And then put it in the book of Psalms. I'm not even going to touch that because we've already touched it. Okay? Bless the Lord, O my soul, O Lord. This is Psalm 104, starting in verse 1. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, you are very great. You are clothed with splendor and majesty, covering yourself with light as a garment, stretching out the heavens like a tent. He lays the beams of his chambers on the waters. He makes the clouds his chariot. He rides on the wings of the wind. He makes his messenger winds, his ministers a flaming fire. He sets the earth on its foundation so that it should never be moved. You covered it with the deep as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains. At your rebuke they fled. At the sound of your thunder they took flight. The mountains rose, the valleys sank down to the place that you appointed for them. You set a boundary that they may not pass, so that they might not again cover the earth. Gee, I wonder what he's talking about there. Could it possibly be, I don't know, the flood? Yeah. He set the earth on its foundation so that it could never be moved. You covered it with the deep as with a garment. The water stood above the mountains. So literally he's describing, very briefly, creation. The Lord set the foundations of the earth so that those foundations will never be moved. Because he's talking about the foundations. Okay? You covered it, foundations, with the deep as with a garment. The water stood above the mountain. Now he's talking about the flood. At your rebuke they fled. At the sound of your thunder they took flight. The mountains rose and the valleys sank down, so that you, to a place that you appointed for them. You set a boundary so that they might not pass, so that they might not again cover the earth. Wait, what was the promise that God said to Noah again? That the rainbow would be put in the sky as a symbol of the promise to never destroy the earth by water. And where is most of that water now? Oh, that's right, in the oceans. Isn't that what that's saying there? Yes. So again, this has nothing to do with that. Okay? And I can guarantee you that this passage in Isaiah is not saying what he thinks it says. Starting in verse 3 of chapter 14 of the book of Isaiah. When the Lord has given you rest from your pain and turmoil, and the hard service with which you were made to serve, you will take up this taunt against the king of Babylon. How the oppressor has ceased, the insolent fury ceased. The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of rulers, and it struck the people in wrath with unceasing blows that ruled the nations in anger with unrelenting persecution. The whole earth is at rest and quiet. They break forth into singing. The cypress rejoice at you, the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since you were laid low, no woodcutter comes up against us. Sheol beneath is stirred up to meet you when you come. It rouses in the shades to greet you. All who were the leaders of the earth it raises from their thrones, all who were kings of the nations. All of them will answer and say to you, you too have become as weak as we. You have become like us. Your pomp is brought down to Sheol. The sound of your harps, maggots are laid as a bed beneath you, and worms are your covers. And then it goes on from there. Is that saying that the earth isn't moving? No, it's saying that all of the people are quiet because Babylon rules. And once the Babylon gets cast down, everybody's going to erupt in celebration. That's what that's saying there. It has nothing to be... Dude, this has nothing to do with the earth, the actual face of the earth. I mean, are you that idiotic? I mean, do you seriously want me to look this up? Because I can guarantee you that that's not what that means. Okay? When it's talking about earth. Because it's talking about the inhabitants of the earth, not the actual earth itself. But then again, this guy wouldn't know that. Let's see here. What does it say in mine? Isaiah 14:7. Because I'm getting you, it's not even that. Yeah, so this one says all the lands are at rest and at peace. So it's not even earth, it's lands. That's probably why he doesn't understand, is because it says lands. $8.24. Erez, world, earth, all inhabited lands, parts of the earth. Land in contrast to water, ground, soil, country, region, territory. Heaven and earth means the totality of creation. The ends of the earth means a very distant place. Oh, gee. Looks like it's not talking about earth as in, like, the world. It's talking about, like, regions. All inhabited lands. That's what it's talking about. What the hell are you even doing, dude? You don't even know what you're talking about. Psalm 33, 8 and 9. Yeah, it's the same thing. Has nothing to do with the actual earth. It's just the inhabited lands. So let's go back to Psalm 33 and we'll read it, because I can guarantee you that's not what it's talking about. Starting in verse 1. Shout for joy in the Lord, O you righteous. Praise befits the upright. Give thanks to the Lord with a lyre. Make melody to him with the harp of 10 strings. Sing to him a new song. Play skillfully on the strings with loud shouts. For the word of the Lord is upright, and all his work is done in faithfulness. He loves righteousness and justice. The earth is full of the steadfast love of the Lord. By the word of the Lord the heavens were made, by the breath of his mouth all their host. He gathers the water of the sea as a heap. He puts the deeps in storehouses. Let all the earth fear the Lord. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. For he spoke and it came to be. For he commanded and it stood firm. The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He frustrates the plans of the people. The counsel of the Lord stands forever. The plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed be the nation whose God is the Lord, the people whom he has chosen as his heritage. Son, has nothing to do with the shape of the earth, or that it's... I mean, I don't even know why you have this as the earth is not moving. I mean, it doesn't say that it does or not. So, I mean, you'd have to be, again, an absolute moron not to understand that, you know, it's like that this just doesn't even make any sense, because anyone can see that that's not what this is. Okay? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, drop a comment below, let me know what you think of this series so far. Sorry it took so long today, I just wanted to be able to get through some of this. We've still got more coming, because he's going to keep repeating himself, like ends of the earth and all that, you know, garbage. So, yeah, we're still going, and we're past 300 now, so we got about 700 to go. So, we're getting there, but it's going to take a while. So, yeah, I mean, this guy is an absolute moron. He does not understand a single thing that is going on. I mean, he is just so far gone that he doesn't understand that half the stuff that he's talking about has no place in reality. It is just so beyond what he thinks is real. Okay? Because he's not exegeting, he's eisegeting. This whole entire thing, he's eisegeting. Okay? Because all he's doing is he's just trying to say, well, see, right here it says it shall never be moved, so that means it's standing still. No. Doesn't mean that it's standing still. It means we cannot move the earth of our own volition. Doesn't mean that the earth is not moving. Okay? Because like in the case of the First Chronicles and Psalm 96, okay, which is basically the same exact fucking passage, It says, the world is established. It shall never be moved. That's it. That's all it is. Okay? And this guy doesn't seem to understand that because, well, like I said, he's a moron. So, that's, yeah, we'll get there. But he's going to have to understand some things before we get done with this, because this is just getting pathetic. Because, again, he's just not even doing anything to make it sound like it's, he's not even trying to justify. He's just like throwing stuff out there and hoping it sticks. Okay? So, like I said, we're going to stay in this till the end, but as we say, we will see you on the next one.